Welcome to the Purple Party known as Purple Nerd Channel, home for all those who geek out on all things Prince related. MPLSound was an album that was released in the 3 CD set Lotus Flow3r, which included Prince's albums Lotus Flow3r and this one MPLSound, as well as an album called Elixir by Prince's latest protege at the time, Bria Valente. I covered the album Lotus Flow3r on the previous video, and I will have a link to that video at the end of this video. In that video, not only do I cover the details of Lotus Flow3r, but I also go over the details and the story behind the production and the release of the entire 3 CD set. So just like Lotus Flow3r, MPLSound was released on March 24th, 2009, exclusively via download at lotusflow3r.com, and then released as a physical CD set through the Minneapolis-based retailer Target on March 29, 2009 for the low price of $11.98, selling over 540,000 copies, which led it peaking at number 2 on Billboard's Top 200. Unlike Lotus Flow3r, MPLSound had an official single release, and that was Dance For Me, which peaked at number 7 on the R&B charts. A video was filmed for this single, but for whatever reason it was never released. But there was a video released for the song Chocolate Box. And I have to be completely honest and just transparent. There has only been 2 albums in Prince's giant catalog of music that on the first time I listened to them, I didn't like them. And MPLSound is one of those albums. Now then, over time, I have grown to like it a little bit more, but it's still not one of my favorite albums. The first 2 songs are pretty cool, and the last 2 songs are absolutely golden. It's the middle of the project where it really falls apart for me. But I'll get more into detail on that as we go through the songs a little bit later in the video. Thematically, this 3 CD set works with Prince taking us through the decades musically. Lotus Flow3r shows his musical influences of the 60s and 70s, with his electric guitar skills at the forefront of the project. Elixir takes us through the early to mid 90s R&B era, and MPLSound takes us through the 80s, primarily focusing on the MPLSound, which many people have credited Prince as creating, or at the minimum bringing the MPLSound to the masses, which leads to an album that sounds like Prince went into the attic at Paisley Park and dusted off his old Linn drum machine and his Fairlight CMI and decided to build every single beat and groove with these 2 devices, making the songs feature the same 4 digital drum patterns, making for an extremely monotonous sounding album at times. And yes, I know Paisley Park doesn't actually have an attic the same way the Alamo doesn't have a basement. And if you got that movie reference, leave a comment down below and help everybody else out. And like I said before, this album has always been a mixed bag for me, and I will further explain that now as we go through this project, as we kick things off with There'll Never Be Another Like Me. Immediately as soon as this song starts, we get that vintage Linn drum sound to the beat, very reminiscent of Prince's album 1999. This is definitely a party song, and it's a very descriptive party song as Prince details him getting ready to go out, details of him arriving at the club, hitting the dance floor, and all the ladies realizing that there's not another man like Prince. Next is Chocolate Box. We get another party jam here, which I believe continues chronologically from the events of the previous song, as a woman at the club has approached Prince, and he's given her the whole "you sure you want this and can you handle this" speech. Q-Tip appears on the song and is just killing it lyrically, like he always does.
In the box. You'll never know what you get up, but you keep trying and trying because the flavors of...
Next is Dance For Me. The story continues with the woman in fact agreeing that she can handle Prince, and he asks her to go ahead and dance for him. He enjoys her moves so much that he compares it to a religious experience. Next is You're Gonna See Me.
You're gonna see me.
Originally recorded in 2001 and included on Prince's piano and a microphone style album One Night Alone, released in 2002.
You're gonna see me.
This song was reworked in 2008 for this project, adding more vocal layering, instruments, and that Lynn drum inspired beat, which unfortunately for me, I find really distracting, making this version just not work for me. Next is Here.
That's why I just don't want you here.
Once again, another Lynn drum inspired beat overpowers everything. This beautifully sung ballad, which as a whole has too much going on musically, making it sound noisy at times. This is definitely a song where less would have been more. Next is Valentina.
Hey, Valentina, tell your mama she should give me a call.
The Lynn drum sound works really well with this groove, bringing the album back up for me. But the song is allegedly aimed at actress Salma Hayek's daughter, which Salma Hayek was a great friend of Prince's, and even directed a music video for Prince. But what's weird about him telling her daughter, tell your mama to give me a call, when she basically needs somebody to chill with, is that based on the lyrics, carrying you down the hall and late night feedings, that the daughter might be an infant, and that's kind of weird. But maybe I'm completely wrong. Next is Better with Time.
You can claim you're humble and hide, but when it's
This is a ballad that handles the Lynn drum sound very well. It is sung beautifully by Prince as he tells an old female friend that they have in fact aged wonderfully and actually look more stunning now than they did back when they first met years ago. In an interview with Ann Powers, Prince confessed that the song was dedicated to Kristen Scott Thomas, who starred with Prince in his film Under the Cherry Moon. Next is Old School Company.
every once in a while, you need some old school company.
Now this right here, this is my jam. This groove is that vintage Minneapolis sound of digital funk that I absolutely love. And the message is simple. Sometimes you just need to chill and conversate with some folks that share the same beliefs and experiences that you've been through. I really dig the section where Prince starts calling out his favorite drummers, and he mentions Morris Day, because in case you didn't know, Morris Day got some skills when it comes to them drums. Next is No More Candy for You. This song is awesome and it's a great closer. And I don't know why, but for some weird reason, this song gives me party up vibes. In the song, Prince is letting all the critics on TV, print, and even on the internet, I'm talking to you trolls, that we aren't going down to your level with sweet viral replies, because there's no more candy for you. The next album in this set is Elixir by Bria Valente. And I will not be doing a separate video for this album, because honestly, there's really not a lot to talk about. All the songs were written by Prince and Bria and produced entirely by Prince. And if you're like me and you really dig the mid, or I should say early to mid 90s quiet storm sound of R&B music, then you're gonna like this album. But musically and lyrically, it's kind of by the numbers and nothing like really stands out, except for the song Here I Come, which has some of the most erotic lyrics that Prince has written since he announced to the world a couple years prior to this album that he would no longer be cussing or performing his really dirty songs anymore live due to his religious beliefs. Plus, it has a line where she says she's wanting to be the dirty blonde girl in 9.5 Weeks, which would be Kim Basinger, who Prince did date for a while. 2 singles were released from this particular album, those being Another Boy and Tonight. And there was a music video released as well for the song Every Time. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Please like and share this video as much as possible. As always, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have the time, please check out my Patreon page. I'll have information about that in the description below. And I will continue this March madness of March releases as I revisit another album that was released basically in the last week of March. And until that next episode, I wish you heaven.